Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you again for joining Giga Vision. I have here Miss Stacy Gay with me today. We're going to have a conversation in regards to how we met most recently and also what she got going on. Of course, guys, I've always encouraged people and people that I tend to interview or have a conversation with always link back to Africa. And so this is a great conversation. I've been so excited to for this day to actually have this conversation with her for you guys, so you guys can understand what's happening in Africa and a lot of things that people are doing as well. So, Stacy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, if you may.
Sure. Hey, boo, hey. I'm Rich Auntie Stacy. I am a real estate agent, investor, traveler, connector. So, thank you for the opportunity to talk.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. So, Stacy and I, we recently met in Chicago, I'd say about 2, 3 weeks ago.
Hmm.
I was invited to be a guest speaker on a panel in regards to investing in Ghana. As you guys probably know, if not, I bought a condo there. And so the developer, in addition to the real estate, the international real estate realtor, rather, Miss Makita Smith, actually invited me. And so that's how Stacy and I met. Stacy, can you kind of add a little bit context to how we met and what we talked about as well?
Yeah, for
How
sure.
is going in this conversation flowing today?
For sure. I really enjoy seeing you on the panel. I'm in Makita's real estate network. So, I've been doing real estate in Atlanta for a few years now. And since I have recent ties to Africa, it was really important for me to kind of link with Makita. So I went to that event to really get to know the developer. Even on my side as a real estate agent, when you're talking about overseas, it does get kind of skeptical, right? So I was so excited to get eyes on a developer, but I was mostly excited for your part since you've been there, you've been back and forth. And so, watching you on the panel was cool. And then when I got a chance to actually talk to you after, to really get to know what you do, it was cool understanding that you help people really move there. I'm probably going to steal some stuff from you just in case anybody wants to move to Gambia. You know what I'm saying? So it was really good to talk about that. And I appreciate your interest in hearing about my love story from Africa. Because, a lot of people, when you tell them, it's like night and day. Either it's like, oh, that nigga's using you for a green card for real, or, well, when you know, you know. You know what I
Hold that
mean?
thought, though. Hold that thought.
So it was interesting.
We don't want to give the people too much right away because then that'll
Okay.
be a short conversation. But we're definitely gonna get there. Rest assured, Stacy, we're gonna get there. But yes, so to kind of add to what you mentioned, exactly. So we did meet there in Chicago, and I find each and every one, story is unique, right? And we all can learn from it as well. And I was very appreciative and intrigued that people wanted to hear my story. With the fact that not only I've been there a few times in Ghana, but also been able to not only invest. To your point, it can get skeptical, and it can get we all can be hesitant to make such a big move, right? To dive in and invest. And this is not like another country in America; it's a whole other continent, and we're like 8+ hours away on a flight to get there. And so, yes, it was, there was a lot of hesitancy from my part and stuff, but with faith and believing in God and praying about it, I made that leap of faith and dove right into it. So that was that for me.
And
And
I
so,
think another thing, just to add to what you're saying, is like the perception they feed us about Africa too. Because, especially growing up, whenever you heard about Africa, it was like, save the children. There's children starting in Africa. And, you see even the crazy comments I got, asking me about my partner. It's just like,
right,
that's really what y'all think it is over there. So being adventurous enough to go check it out for yourself,
right,
and I guess strong minded enough to be able to move past just what the media is trying to portray.
Right. And that's a great point that you made mention, because I think that because of systemically what we've been taught from knee high, we've always been, we kind of were interested, but then wasn't, right? And because it was all in our face growing up, and where it's like, hey, I would never dare to go, because this is what we're going to see. This is what it seems like it looks like based on what we see on TV and what we've heard. And so, to your point too, you got to be adventurous. And I always encourage each and every one of us, I don't care what your culture, nationality is, to take that, that chance and opportunity to go out there. Obviously, for you and I, we do have different paths in terms of, because back and forth in Ghana, I'm starting something in Ghana. But for you, let's talk to the people, because you're a whole different country in Africa. And I want you to kind of tell us the story in terms of how did you end up going out there, and what country that is, and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, I will start with, I'm a part of a women's entrepreneurial group called Boss Summit. I got connected with the Boss Summit maybe 23 or whatever, and every time we come together, it's just about like educating and sharing resources on how you can make your business better. So this year we had a retreat in the Gambia, West Africa, very small country right under Senegal. And we chose that destination as a retreat because one of the ladies in the circle owns a phenomenal salon, spa, wellness center over there. It's called Mirrored. I suggest y'all take a look at it. It is the bomb. And what's very intriguing about that is the fact that she chose there because it's still a developing country and there's still so much opportunity over there. So that's another thing. Like, as an investor, it takes a whole different level to invest in another country. Like, you truly have to be someone who loves travel, someone who's not afraid to live differently, someone who's not afraid to take a different type of risk. Now she did, it's phenomenal. So I know the startup cost was not cheap,
Right.
but relatively speaking, she got much more bang for her buck than she would over here. And because America is developed, you have much more competition, right? So she taught us a lot about having audacity and how to even look at opportunity. Because I think you could look at Africa two ways, right? You can look at it as, oh, it's a third world country, it's still developing, there are dirt roads, I don't want to live over there. Or you can be investor minded and you can see the gold mine for what it is. It's the youngest country, the population is about to boom. And because it's developing and there's not a whole lot of resources, the opportunities are big, big, big.
And it's crazy. And I just want to touch on what you just said, the opportunities, and also kind of going back a little bit to saying there are two types of people. Just earlier on, I was conversing with someone, and I had exactly that same conversation, right? We have most of us from the Western world that will probably travel to Africa and look at it, to your point, the dirt roads and the infrastructure not being up to par or advances we have it here. And so they're like, oh, you know what? This is not for me, which is clearly understandable, right? But then you have the other mindsets, like for like yourself and myself, where we're looking at like, wow, this is an empty canvas. And what can I do here? Not only just to be able to profit, but what can I do also to give back to this country, to give back to the people, to the economy, and so on and so forth. So you have to have that business mindset. You have to have that hunger, right? And like you said already, with America or the Western world, it's already developed. The competition is like, it's dog eat dog world out here, right? Where over there, you're able to kind of analyze what the needs are and provide it to the people if you have that means. And so it's great that you brought that up, because it's completely true. I agree with you 1,000%. So we go to Gambia, right? This was a retreat that you guys have. Boss Summit, hey,
all women,
all women doing that thing. And so now what was it like for you personally? So you're there, you understand the business mindset, you understand what your friend was showing you with the Mirrored Salon. But what was it like for you personally being there? And also, was this your first time going to Africa?
Very first time anywhere in Africa.
Oh wow.
Very first time anywhere in Africa. And you know, when I first got there, I was like, okay, this is janky, right? I tried to exchange my money at the airport. They shorted me a whole bunch of money. A whole bunch of money being $20, but still it's my $20.
Facts.
The shuttle from the hotel didn't come, so I'm riding in a taxi. The taxi don't have no doorknobs. I'm like, oh Lord, what's going on? But by the time I made it to the resort and walked in the resort beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So I like forgot that even happened. And the second thing I noticed is if you look around the resort, it's all Europeans. I was in Africa. It's all Europeans in this resort. So while they feeding us what they feeding us over here, talking about don't go over there,
They're
it's
over there.
all wealthy Europeans over there.
Right.
So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I'm truly an adventurer. So I like spent the day taking public transportation. I went to the major market. I was in there haggling for fabric. I went to the local restaurant. Best food there was at like this hole in the wall restaurant at the local shop, you know. So good. And so I was really just taking it all in, and I was probably being a little critical too because it's a couple things I don't like, but we're gonna skip over that. I just really enjoyed being there. I just felt like wow.
Well, be
Like
transparent. Tell us. So, what was, of course, again, this is your first time in Africa. Like for me, just to kind of brief you, for me, what made things not so complicated or oh I didn't like this or I didn't like that is because I've lived in third world countries before, right? And so I've had that experience. I've lived in Jamaica, I've lived in Dominican Republic. So I've had those third world country experiences and seen what, is provided to us and, things of that nature. So going to Africa, it was kind of like, oh, okay. The only difference was we're the majority. So I'm amongst my peoples, my brothers, my sisters. So that kind of helped me throughout, going to Ghana for the first time. So what was it for you? Like you was like, I don't know about this.
I'm gonna just say it. I didn't like the advertising. Like everybody in the country is dark.
Okay.
But you look up on the billboards, this lady's mixed. Why?
Got it.
I don't understand. And then, ooh, ladies, my African sisters, please don't drag me in the comments. But I'm tired of the lace fronts. I'm tired of the lace front wig. Take that hair off your head, baby. Embrace that afro. You see what I got on? I'm not Muslim. It's a whole afro under here. I got it tied up. And it made me see how far reaching the smear campaign is for us to hate ourselves.
Right.
All the way over. It's not just Black American women that's putting on them crazy lace fronts and eyelashes. It's everywhere. And it makes me so upset that we let another race culture tell us what our hair should look like.
Right.
I love my hair.
Right.
Love my hair. I don't think I've ever worn a wig in my life. And I would be eternally happy if we all just took that off. But
oh, and listen, and I appreciate
whatever.
you sharing that. Again, we have to talk about the pros and the cons. And what's unique about my channel, I don't want to talk about all the good stuff. If there is something that you see, like for me, one of the traditions that I really love in Ghana is and please don't quote me, but I want to say from like elementary up until high school. I'm not sure about universities, but from elementary up until high school, like you have to cut your hair. It's the traditional thing there. And so when you're walking or you're driving and you're seeing, and I'm talking about the women, right? The girls, and you'll see them with the low boy, with the Caesar. Of course, not a bald head like mine, but they'll have the low boy, the low cut, and stuff like that, and that's traditional. And I see one story I recently saw, like a day or two ago, was a Westerner who actually their family moved them to Ghana, and she had to cut her hair, and she was devastated, right? Because out here in the Western world is who got the longest, prettiest hair. That's who's popping, so on and so forth. But we have to understand, hey, this country has a tradition, so no matter where you come from, this is where you decide to live. You have to live
That's
by
what
the
you do.
tradition, and so I really enjoy that and love that aspect of it and stuff like that. But going back to your point, of course, in university and beyond, in being an adult, yeah, you see a lot of the, what do you call it, the wigs and the lace front, as you mentioned. It's very sad, but at the same time, it's not.
It drove me insane, but I also saw opportunity in that, right? The reason why we want to put somebody else's hair on our head is because we've been told our hair is ugly because we don't have the resources to take care of it properly. Like, I went natural when natural was not popular, when
Right,
it was like 2, 3 products on the shelf. It's really hard to make your afro curly and pop it if it's dry. You
right,
know what I mean? So I do see opportunity over there to get products to help, embrace the naturalness of our hair. But obviously it's going to be a slow grow because this is so ingrained in us.
right. And the thing about it too, and I'm glad you said that, it's always analyzing where you're at and what can you do to make it better. What can you do for the people to be appreciative of who they are and what they are, right? We are Africans, and your hair is very, very important. And so that's a great thing that you were able to identify that and wanting to do something about it, whether it's in a short term or long term. I think that's great. So boom. So here we are. We're in Gambia with girls. You're seeing what Gambia is like. You see the colorism and stuff like that, which unfortunately happens a lot of places, right? And you're seeing a hair situation you're not too fond of, but you have some ideas of how you could hopefully turn things around. Now, I know you kind of touched base on it, but what was the food like in all the restaurants you've been in? And also, before you even answer that, how long were you in Gambia? I want to know what the food was like, how the nightlife was, and things of that nature.
Okay, so the trip was 10 days.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a 10-day girls retreat. The local food was the best. The resort food, because they're trying to please a different crowd, the European crowd that's actually visiting. But the local food was fire. Lots of spices, which I love. And it really wasn't that different either. Like hamburgers, fried chicken, you could get all of that stuff. It's not too different.
Right.
I'm sure it will be much different if I was like trying to cook, but like restaurant terms, you could get, pretty much anything.
Okay.
It's the same.
And what was nightlife, and
Oh
did you
man,
do any
Gambia.
did you do any tours? All of that. I want to hear all of
Uh-huh. Gambia can party. Like the clubs
it.
don't close until 8 to 10 a.m.
Right.
So like there was one morning we got back to the resort. It was 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
So the clubs, they hookah over there just like it was Atlanta. I think they call it shishas. A lot of
Yeah.
shisha over there. Um,
Did you
they
did you
were.
realize did you realize the shisha was different from America? I
I
thought,
don't smoke it,
oh,
so
yes, okay, because
but
I do socially, and it's completely different. But okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so yeah, I didn't smoke any, but the girls were having fun with that. Another thing that they did there that I also didn't partake in, but they do the helium balloons. I'm like, oh, y'all real lit.
That
Y'all
was
real
something. That
lit.
was the first time I've seen that in
First time
Ghana.
I've ever
Yeah,
seen
I
something. I'm
never
like,
knew that
what
was
is
a thing.
that? What is that? So that was interesting. And it's like a lot of different clubs. What else did you ask me?
The any tours? Did you do any tours? Any
Okay,
historical?
so we got a driver to take us from Gambia to Senegal
Oh,
because right right past the Gambian Senegalese border is a nature reserve called Fatala. So we went to Fatala, we walked with the lions, got to take pictures with the lions. That was really dope. And then you can like drive around the nature reserve and you can see all the other animals, zebra, hippo, giraffe. So that was really cool too.
Dope, dope. One thing that from my first trip to Africa, I sat down when I came back because I did 3 months the first time I went, and I said to myself, I know why we do the things that we do in America because it's also back home. It is also back home. So although the umbilical cord was cut, but we still have the same culture. We still are the same people. Case in point, the lateness. Oh my gosh. I don't, it's just like, just relax, nonchalant, everything is, in people's time and stuff like that. There's no sense of urgency. One, the partying, I have never seen, you were talking about, the club 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock coming back home, in Gambia. In Ghana, there's a club that opens at 5 in the morning.
It opens at 5
Open
a.m.
at 5 a.m. If you get there at 4:30, it's pitch black. There's no door open. So we normally, when I'm feeling a little young, right, I'll take the boys with me, and we'll go to a couple of spots. And I mean a couple, like 2 to 3 spots first. And if we're not tired, it's like for something we drive. It's a spot called Oasis, and there's a pool in the middle of the club. You know what I mean? And we have the shishas going, and you got the
Is anybody in the pool?
No, personally, I've never seen anyone in the pool when I go. And I
That's so
frequent
black.
there a lot. I've never seen anyone in the pool. But on some videos, like YouTube videos or take Instagram, I have seen they like had pool parties. But it just brings me back, and I'm like, we are really the same people. We are connected in one way or another, and so that kind of brought everything to life from you. What were your thoughts on that? Seeing the culture, seeing the tradition,
You know what?
and all of it.
I had the exact same thought. Like driving from the airport to the hotel, I see people commuting to work. I see kids in uniform going to school. I see business owners with their shops set up. And I'm like, this is just the rhythm of life. We're all doing the same thing. We're getting education. We're trying to figure out how to provide for our families. We're trying to do work that we're good at. It makes us feel valuable and a part of the community. And it looks different depending on where you go, but ultimately we all want and need the same things. But I was also just blown away at the strength. Like when you see the women with the carrying stuff on their heads, and a lot of times it's for their business, right? So if they're selling fruit, they got fruit on their heads, they're having it in their arms, they're doing it. I'm just like, we are really powerful. The women, it's 80 degrees, they got the baby tied up on their back, the baby back there comfortable sleep. She walking through the city, and I'm just like, wow.
Insane. And one of the things that also, while I was there the first time, and that one blew me away, I saw people in Ghana that looked like people I know in America. And I was like, what? There were literally times I've been in a car and I wanted to kind of stop and like, yo, what up? But I had to realize this is not the person. Because at the end of the day, again, no matter, just because the umbilical cord was cut, we are still the same. We come from the same freaking place. And I think that's why I always encourage my audience and anyone that I, get in contact with, just visit. It doesn't have to be Ghana, but just visit Africa. I wouldn't suggest South Africa for now. Maybe it'll be a vacation to go to South Africa, but somewhere where it's predominantly cultured, right? And so the likes of Ghana, Gambia, Senegal, Kenya, those places, Ethiopia and stuff like that. So, and of course there's other countries in between, but I would definitely encourage it. So, okay. So you're telling me your experience. It seems like you were having a good time. It's 10 days there. That's amazing. Now, this is the most interesting part with your story. And I think this is why I really wanted to talk to you, because outside of knowing the things that you're doing, which we'll touch bases on later. But you said something to me when I met you. You met who in Gambia?
I met my husband.
Please enlighten the people when you say I met my husband. What, you went to Gambia with your husband? What do you mean? Enlighten the people.
No, I didn't go. I met my husband while I was there. And it's so crazy because I feel like people kept telling me, don't go to Africa and get married. Don't go to Africa and get married. Like, that
And
is
what did she do? And
and
what?
so, okay.
Oh
It was
boy.
day 3 of the trip. And we went to a restaurant called Casa Africa. Because again, the salon owner, my friend in the group, that's where she like booked a private dinner for us so we could continue to network and, encourage ourselves as, women entrepreneurs or whatever. And after that, like, we pretty much shut down the restaurant. Like, we were there because it was a vibe. There was, shisha, there was drinks, they had a DJ, the food was great, the drinks were great. And so we were just kind of vibing. And one of the workers was feeling my homegirl, and he was like, we want to take y'all out to a club called Nova.
Mm.
So unbeknownst to me, he went and got the manager of the restaurant. And so they both ended up taking us out. So he sat next to me, we were just talking, vibing. Now at this point, I was lit. So,
Okay.
this was day 3, but it was like our first time as a group, like
This
really
sounds
going
like
out.
Vegas to me.
It was our first time like going out, and like, again, some of the girls had already known because I've been apart for so long, but then there's some new faces. So this is our first night, like kind of trying like kick it and get to know each other. But all I know is he sat next to me. We started talking. We were taking pictures together. We exchanged numbers on WhatsApp, and it kind of evolved from
No. They can't just no. I want some information. We're not gonna just the third day I met him and then now we're married. No. So no, we're not doing that here, okay? This is the Jigga Vision. We're not doing that. I want to get some context to this because I personally I've met people in my travels, but I'm not married. So what was it about? What was it about him? Like, okay, so let's bring it back a bit, right? What was it like to have that conversation with him that night? What was it like to continue it? Because you said you guys exchanged numbers, and I also want you to touch bases on because obviously you live in America, right? I'm pretty sure you've dated men in America. I want you to also kind of get into that and explaining the differences. What when you met your husband, right? On your third day on your trip to how men in America have been when you were dating them.
So I had a boyfriend. When I went, I had a boyfriend when I went on my trip. Sorry to that man, but okay. So I met my husband. His name is Omar. I met Omar day 3 of the trip. Again, I was just lit, talking, having a good time. I wasn't thinking anything of it. He got my WhatsApp on some, call me to make sure you made it in to the hotel. Okay, so I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. The next day, he was like, "Oh, I miss you. You're amazing. Pretty smile, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 nigga. I see what you on. I'm not interested. Not interested. I'm in a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship with somebody halfway around the world. Like, thank you, but no thank you.
Right.
Right? But somehow he just made sure to see me every single day. Like the next day, he was like, "Are you really gonna go a whole day without letting me see your face?" Just like really sweet stuff like that. And in the background, the boyfriend that I had at the time was not calling me. You know, so I remember even having a conversation with him, like, I'm halfway across the world. You haven't called me all day. Like, I'm feeling neglected and abandoned. Like, what's up?
Right.
And he's like, oh, just you with your friends. I want you to focus on your trip, blah, blah, blah. To me, that sounds like I don't really like you that much. Now, I don't know what, maybe I'm overreacting. Your audience can tell me, but it sounds like I don't like you that much. Have fun on your trip. Meanwhile, Omar is like, what are you doing tonight? Let's check out this club. Let me take you here. You know, so he just made sure to see me every day.
Right.
And then as we were talking, he was like, you know, I'm going to marry you. And I'm like, boy, what the hell are you talking about? He was like, no, I'm for real. I'm going to marry you. I can feel it. I called my best friend. I'm like, girl, I met this nigga. We getting married.
So hold up. No, let's
She's
bring it
not
back.
always joking.
Hold on, let's bring it back. Although you were joking, what day was this when you told your homegirl, I met this guy and we're getting married?
That was like the night before I left.
Wow.
Like, so the series that I'm doing on social media, I call it Locked In by Day 10, because by day 10, I knew it was it for me. I was locked in.
Wow.
Like, by the end of the trip, I was really locked in. And like, some things I really just can't explain because you just feel it. Like, you know, like I told you when we met, like, the moment I let my guard down and gave him a chance, I just felt a covering that I really have never felt before. Right? So maybe a couple of days after we met, my friend was doing a performance for his friend. His friend is an artist over there. He had a performance at Q City in front of 30,000 people. And he invited another one of my homegirls that was on the trip with me to dance for him, you know, during the performance because she's a dancer.
Oh, wow.
So we went to the concert. We were all backstage, me, her, him, his friend, and like two other girls from the summit or whatever.
Okay.
We're all backstage. It is freezing cold. There are people standing over here, but their seats over here. And we were just like, you know, these seats are cool. We're glad we have chairs, but we want to sit over there because it will be warmer over there. He said, okay, went over there, told them to moved each chair individually to where we wanted to go sit at. You know, it was just anything that I needed, any whatever, he had me on that.
Right.
And, you know, still, even sometimes today, I can't lie, still sometimes skeptical, like, is this real? You know what I mean?
So
But
would you say not only just paying attention to details, but moving mountains, right? And understanding as a woman, being a provider, because a lot of times when we use the word provider, we're thinking currency, we're thinking financially, right? And we don't sit back and, as a man, we don't sit back and say, what's a provider? We automatically put the dollar sign up. And I'll be one to say I'm a victim of that, right? But with him, would you say was just kind of like to your point, just moving the chairs for you was like, oh my gosh, this was grand. Where for him, he was just, I'm moving these chairs because my
she
girl
want to sit here.
was his girl at the time, but she
To
wanted.
him, I was.
So my woman wanted to sit there, so I'm gonna make it happen, right? So was that how you looked at it, or explain to me how did
No,
you?
I mean, I think that's exactly it. It was like whatever I wanted. And it could be so small. Like, again, one time we were in the club and I had my African fan and I'm fanning myself. He took it out of my hand and started fanning me and said, that's for me to do.
Mm.
I'm like, what? What?
Now, his name is not Omar. His name is Mr. Smooth. He's making me feel. He's making. Yeah. So what they say, nice guys finish last. Not Omar. Not Omar.
That Omar, no, he started fanning me and he was like, that's for me to do. I took it out his hand and I just put it on the table. I said, that's going to make me like you too much. Just stop it.
Wow. So let's also okay. So the only thing not only, but one thing I didn't know when we met, when we spoke about you meeting your husband in Gambia, I didn't know you had a boyfriend at the time. And so what was Omar's situation and position in terms of, because it may not be big in America, but in Africa, being a manager at a restaurant, that holds value, right? Because you're frequent with not only the locals but also foreigners who come to the country and who comes to your restaurant. And
Mm-hmm.
so he's exposed to all sorts of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to meeting you, what was his love life like? Do you know? Did he express it to you? And how did you guys again come together?
When I met him, he was single and he wasn't even thinking about girls or being in a relationship. They have a very different work ethic over there. He's a manager of a restaurant. He is at that restaurant 7 days a week.
Right.
No weekends, no breaks. And he said he was in a relationship before, but she left him for somebody with more money. So that kind of left him in the like, I'm not really dealing with it state. And I was just like, what made me different? He said the moment he saw me, he knew. That's what he said. The moment he saw me, he knew that he was in love and I was the one that he wanted to be with.
Right.
I feel like maybe it wasn't love at first sight for me, but I knew by the end of the trip for sure.
Oh, wow. So on the third day you met him, and up until the 10th day, you identify, yo, this is going to be my guy. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So my thing is with this amazing story that you shared with not only just me, but with the people here in Jigga Vision who follows, has he been consistent? Now, before you answer that, when did you guys meet? What month? What year? When did you guys meet up until today's date? Is that consistency still there, even though you're not in Gambia right now?
Absolutely. We met on January 30th, 2025.
Okay. And he's been consistent. He's still the Mr. Smooth guy.
Absolutely same person.
That's dope. That's dope. This is for me, I always say I'm Ghanaian, right? Because I'm a citizen of Ghana and things of that nature. But of course, we know that I'm from here. I'm from America and so on and so forth. And I'll be honest with you, like, I've always been skeptical when I go to anywhere that's third world country. My skepticism comes from a woman, right? How do you view me? And why is it that you want to talk to me, right? Because a lot of the times, you hear stories and it's always, of course, they may think that you're making money or you have money, right? And so this is the reason why. Where in this case it's different. It's the reverse, right? Where, you went, like he mentioned to you, he saw you, he already knew. And then of course you wasn't, you're in a whole relationship. You out there with your girls, you're having a good time. And then third day to 10th day is like, yo, this is the love of my life, so to speak. And so for men, I can honestly say, who have things going on in their lives, it is very, very tricky because it's challenging to identify one's true reason, right? Because I've been in places, I rub shoulders with different people, locals, people who would hire situations and others. And I've had people approach me or sat with me or, hey, can I join you? This and the third. And as rude as this may sound, I always say no 98% of the time, because again, I don't know what you really, your intentions. I really don't know. And so it's good to hear your story because it rings volume because people or women who are going to Africa, yeah, they may not be going out there for a husband or boyfriend or what have you, but love can find you anywhere. Would you agree?
Absolutely. 100%. And I think, for me, it's like every relationship is a risk. You never know what somebody's true intention is. You know what I mean? Like, you can't calculate that. Even here in America, we have a term called hobosexual. People who use people for a place to stay in the wintertime. You know what I mean? Remember when I was big on Instagram like a year or two ago? So it's like,
Oh
it
wow.
really, it kind of doesn't matter because you never really know. You just have to have faith and pay attention.
Right.
You know, if there are any red flags, you know, like during the trip, Omar made it clear that he's always wanted to come to America. It wasn't like, oh, you're just gonna move here to Gambia and we'll live here forever, and then once we got married, oh well, let's just submit the paperwork. You know what I mean? It was always clear
Mhm.
that he wanted to come here and he was gonna find a way to get here, whether he met me or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I think the other thing is just praying about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I prayed about it then. I prayed about it when I got back. Every time we had a difficult conversation, I would ask Jehovah God to make sure that he could not hide from me.
Right.
And help me listen. Help me listen to what he's saying, and don't let him hide behind anything. I want to know exactly who he is.
Tension.
And the more I asked to be revealed, honestly, the better it got.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, it's like, I had my heart broken before.
I think we all have.
I get me another one. So what's gonna happen if Omar breaks my heart? I'm gonna get me another one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not scared to take the risk because I know that I really am a lover girl. I was put on this earth to love and to be loved. And I'm going to find somebody who will do it right. And so far, Omar has been the best person for me.
That's dope. And I think, and whether you believe it or not, like, I think your story actually helped me. You know what I mean? Because I have some fears, right? One of them, vulnerability, trust, huge issues for me. And so hearing your story, that's why I wanted you to come on the channel so bad, because not just for me, but I know for others who will be going to Africa, for others who have been, well, actually went through the same thing that you went to Africa or anywhere in the world for that matter, and met someone they fell in love with, right? And I think that, you know, it holds a lot of weight. And for me, what I appreciated was just you letting loose. And again, you pray to God and went to see his true intentions, right? But you actually went and dove in and took that risk, so to speak. And that kind of helped me to be like, you know what? If I were to meet someone wherever in this world, God's green earth, like, I would definitely possibly give that opportunity and see where it actually goes. And I think, you know, and I only started thinking that way once I met you and we had the conversation. Seriously, because I'm the worst. And
Well,
I know it.
the other thing is, I mean, I've always told myself that for me, it's better to live life with an open hand, right? It's better than a closed fist, right? Because if my fist is closed, no, you can't take anything out, but you also can't put anything in.
Nice.
You know, so, and have people taking advantage of that? Absolutely. I got 2 tenants that have ran out on me without giving me what they were supposed to give me for the rent.
Okay.
But you cannot take from me more than God can provide.
Nice.
So if you play me, that's on you. That's not on me. I operated with genuine intention. I really love this man. So if he is trying to play me or get over on me, that's between him and his God. I don't have anything to do with that. I know for sure, because I'm operating in genuine intention and really trying to love, I'm always going to win.
Facts. That's a great way to put it. And just putting your trust in God. And for me, I've done that in other, you know, in other aspects of my life. But, you know, to your point, it makes sense. So there was something that, so you kind of gave us details, elaborated about Omar, how he is, what attracted you to him, and the fact that he's putting you on a pedestal, right? But in your experience with dating men in America, what was that like for you? Because I really want to understand,
Jesus.
and you have to also get where I'm coming from, right? Because not just me, but other people who's watching this is going to say, okay, well, you have a woman here who from America, lives in America, went on a girls trip, a 10-day girls trip or summit, right? And met a man on her third day, rocked it out with him from the third day to the time that she left. And now he's a whole husband. She's a whole wife. And so why couldn't you get that here in America? What was your experience like in dating and in relationships here in America?
I mean, I really can't necessarily answer that. I've had boyfriends here, I've dated here. I feel like it's a combination, right? When I was younger and dating, I don't think my self esteem was really where it should have been. So I accepted a lot of things that I shouldn't have. I wasn't as strong in my relationship with God. So I didn't become abstinent until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. You know what I mean? So dating before God, I really don't even count that because I was just out in the world, not even really knowing what to look for. As my self esteem got to where it needed to be, as my relationship with God got to where it needed to be my whole life, I finally sat down and I made a list of everything I wanted in a husband.
Okay.
The boyfriend I was dating at the time was not on that list. So, he was a nice guy. He was a very nice guy, but he wasn't the list. And he would also say stuff like, I want you to be happy with whoever, even if it's not with me. Which again sounds nice, but to me, I don't really like you that much.
That's
You know what I mean?
it was something fishy with him. That's weird.
You know,
We're very territorial. We want what we want, and we're gonna hold on to it. We don't want anybody coming around it. So these things that I'm hearing you're saying he said is like, I can't. I could
I
never say
don't
that to
really
my
like you that much, right? And if I was listening and praying with discernment on really hearing what he was telling me, I probably would have got to that conclusion, Omar or not. Because everything kind of pointed back to, I don't really like you that much. And, honestly, when I was on my way back home, I was very conflicted because, yeah, I liked Omar, but it was a vacation. You know what I mean? And here is somebody that I had been dating for like 5 months already. So I was very conflicted. The nail in the coffin was when I got home, that man did not pick me up from the airport. I had been gone 10 days. I called him like, hey, I just landed. He said, oh, I'm at a gathering. I said, oh, okay. And I hung up the phone. It was dead for me. The next time I talked to him, you know what, this ain't gonna work out. I have so much love for you, but it's not gonna work out because again, if you really liked me and if you was really rocking with me, you would have been at that airport. Okay,
a
no,
1,000%.
no way around it. And how Omar was treating me to you not picking me up from the airport, oh, it was dead. It was a wrap.
I got it. Some men.
And
Well,
I still have love for him and I appreciate him too because dating him honestly was my first time at this big age, my first time actually dating a nice guy. First time ever actually dating a nice guy.
Okay.
Omar just happened to be a nice guy who really, really wanted me.
Got it.
That's the only difference. He's a nice guy. He just didn't want me. When he wants somebody, I'm sure it'll be the same, but
Right.
it just wasn't me.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, again, your story is to me, it's amazing. It's one for the books, and I know there's probably a million other ones like that. However, yours is the one, very captivating for me because again, it moved me to start thinking a different way, right? And of course, for those who are going to be watching this, can also say, giving love a chance, right? So very, very compelling, and I'm very appreciative for you to even open up and sharing that with my followers and my fans here. So it means a lot. Now let's talk about what you're doing, right? Because you definitely talked about real estate. You investing in things like that. Tell the people not only what you're doing, but also how they can get a hold of you, how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm a realtor here in Atlanta. So if you want to reach out to me on that front, it's richauntie.realestate.com, Rich Auntie Real Estate on social media. And I'm also promoting, Omar and I's story. I love it. I get excited about it. So we're on Instagram and TikTok at the Gays. Gays like Marvin, Gayes,
Okay.
the period gays. So, I'm releasing every reel recently is a day of the trip. So I just released day 3, which is the day we met. I went all the way to 10. I'm trying to talk about all of the things, because the other thing that Omar had that I also really never felt before was leadership. And
Hmm.
that's very interesting too, because even as like a Black American woman, we talk all the time about like wanting a strong head, a strong family head, but he made me realize I really got work to do. Cause
What do you mean by that?
well, being submissive is difficult. It's
Hmm.
not easy, especially when you have been the sole provider for all of your needs and yourself and doing your thing for so long. Now I have to consider his feelings.
Hmm.
And what he says goes. Like, okay, 3 days before it was time to go. So day 7 of the trip, Omar was like, you leave in 3 days. I'm not leaving your side. I said, okay, but I had an appointment at the spa tomorrow. He just looked at me and he was like, nah. I was like, okay, I guess I don't. So I canceled the spa day, but he made sure that I did everything I wanted to do that day. So I'm an investor. So I was looking for an Airbnb. He called the real estate agent. The real estate agent took us around. I said I needed a place to work. So he was like, okay, I'm going to take you to the hotel. We're going to chill at the pool. You can work and I'll order us food. And so not just making me cancel,
Your spa day.
but making sure that it was worth canceling. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
So but it's not like it's been all gravy, right? There have been times where we butt heads and he's like, that's disrespectful. You're not going to talk to me like that. Lower your voice. And I have to be like,
bring it back.
yes, because I feel like the instinct is to fight, right? Because you want to win. But I realize I don't want to win the argument. I want to win the marriage. So
Look at you. Look at
it
you.
does take, oof, it's different.
Right. I mean, relationships in 2025 nowadays is very challenging, let alone a marriage, let alone your husband being a whole different continent, right? And so, of course, you've probably been yearning for him, his physical touch, his physical presence, just being able to go places with him, enjoying life together. So that brings a lot of challenges. And you know, putting God in your relationship, I think, has helped, because just hearing you talk only tells me that's what you did, was to put God first, and was to bring him into your relationship, and was to identify, and was to ask God, is this the right man for me? Is this the right husband? And things like that. Because just you saying, not having to fight or win the war or win the battle, you had to pull back because you want to win the marriage. That's profounding, right? Because not a lot of people think that way. So again, that's very interesting. And again, your story is amazing. You know what I mean? Is there anything else you want to share with the people? Final thoughts? Anything you want to share with the people before we go?
Yes. I want to say to anybody like that finds themselves in a similar situation to still be smart. You know, I met Omar on the trip. You know, we kept in contact, obviously, when I got back home, and I decided to go back and see, test the vibe, right? So I was like, I'm going to go back for a whole month. But there are still things I did for safety reasons. You know, it's not like I fell in love and just threw caution to the wind. I asked for a copy of his passport. I sent that to everybody, you know, in my family that I felt needed it. They had his WhatsApp. They had the name of where he worked at. You know, I sent them my flight itinerary. I had my own Airbnb when I went back. So I didn't go back to stay with him, but I had my own Airbnb, and I made sure that my family was connected to the Airbnb host. I even put my friend down like in the Airbnb as like we were staying together, even though she wasn't going, but
Right.
I made sure that she was in the Airbnb and that she had my mama's number. You know what I mean? So I just, and no shade to anybody that does meet online, but it's not like I just met Omar online and I went to Gambia to figure it out. I'm sure there are honest people online, but that's, you know, that's not our story.
That's not your
You know
problem.
what I mean? We really met in person, and I really just did everything I could think to do to be safe or to just have somebody know like
Question. Yeah.
where I was at. Yeah.
My last question, because I definitely it definitely slipped my mind. So you guys met in January, 30th January this year. When did you get married?
April 18th.
Got it. So you went back to Gambia,
Yep.
and
So
then
we had been talking every day, you know, and I had a lot of people in my ear. Oh, he probably already married. He probably got kids hiding somewhere, blah, blah. So like we talked consistently. And I went back. I was going to stay for a month. I didn't tell him how long I was staying because I didn't want him to be able to hide nobody for 2 weeks. And then, you know, so, you know, I met his mama, met his family, was at work as much as I could. Now, does that mean that he couldn't have been hiding? I'm sure he, if somebody wants to be a snake, they're gonna be a snake, right?
right,
But I did, I guess, everything that I
you
could
did
do.
your part,
So
right?
I was there for pretty much, it was only a month. I guess it was like March 29th to April 29th.
Okay.
So April 12th, he proposed. The proposal was epic.
Wow.
And we went to tell his family that we were engaged. Now, his family is very faithful in their religion, they're Muslim. So
Mm,
they didn't want us staying together if we weren't married. And so when we told them that we were engaged, they were like, y'all should get married right now. Don't drag it out. They were like, no, 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 no. And then that's the other thing that made me really comfortable because in his culture, we had to drive around as a couple and get blessings from each of the elders. So all of his mom's siblings, his
mm,
dad passed when he was a young man. So we had to find his uncle
wow.
to give the blessing. And so that's what I mean. Like, if he's faking, that's a shame on him and all. That had nothing to do with Stacey. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, to go to every elder in the family to get their blessing and be prayed over before we could even like come into this union, and just seeing how much more sacred marriage is over there was
Yeah,
really encouraging.
that's amazing. That's dope. That's the little because I was like trying to find a timeline, and so now I get it, and that's dope. And I wish nothing but a successful marriage for both of you, Mr.
Thank
Smooth
you.
and Stacy. Yeah, we'll call you SNS. And so no, and I really mean that, and I hope that God continues to lead you guys right, and your
Thank you. Thank you.
endeavors and future goals and whatever it is that you guys are going to be doing as a union, as a couple, as a married couple. So that's dope. And of course, I would love for you at some point in time to come back to the channel maybe in a few months. I know you have some plans on going back, seeing your man, right? And
Yep,
so kind of like chop it up and getting to see any changes, anything in regards to what you've decided to do. Is it you're going to be staying in Gambia at some point or coming back to the States with him? Whatever that looks like in the future, I would love to have you back so we
for
can talk
sure.
more.
For sure, we can do an update. Love that.
Stacey, it's a pleasure. Any last word before we go, before we end this?
No, thank you so much for having me. Again, y'all can find me Rich Auntie Stacy, Rich Auntie Real Estate, or the gays on social media.
Awesome. And I'll have that down below next to you. And so when we get this done, so again, appreciative of this. And thank you so much. Guys, thanks for joining Jig of
Thank
Newton.
you.
It was nice. We'll see you next time.
Bye.